Welcome back, evolving babes. It's me, your host, Nehleeee Martinez, aka Omnificbeauty. I am an esthetician, so I'm all about enhancing your skin and your confidence. But I am also someone who loves self-development. I love growing, I love learning, and I love helping other babes get to where they want to be. I honestly really just want to help more people feel confident in being themselves and loving themselves and being able to grow and feel supported. And I want to be like that big sister that a lot of people don't have. I know, like, sometimes I feel like I needed my sisters growing up. So I hope I can help you or inspire you. Fun fact about me, I actually wanted to attend a PNP program at Washington University in St. Louis. PNP stands for Philosophy, Neuroscience, and Psychology. It's just always kind of been something I've been super into, so I feel like this YouTube channel has kind of helped me kind of tap into that. So if you see me looking this way, I'm looking at my notes. I'm just gonna go through them. Sometimes you have to realize nobody else is gonna do it for you. You have been with yourself since you were created in the womb. I know I've kind of briefly went over this already, but like, you really have to think about it. Like, you're gonna be with yourself for the rest of your life. You have been with yourself for your entire life until this very moment. And you really just have to think, like, would you want to be your friend? Would you date yourself? Would you want to have yourself as a mother? Would you want yourself as a teacher? Are you confident with who you currently are? If not, why not? What is it? And how can you fix that? And it's super important you realize that we only have the power to change things within ourselves. We can't change anybody else, and you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And that's a quote by Marcus Aurelius. I might have butchered the last name, but I love that quote so much. But yeah, like, we can change our surroundings. You can talk to, people who actually align with how you want to be, who you want to be, people who have what you want. You are in control. No one else can control you unless you allow them to. And if you allow someone, like, is it because it aligns with how you want to be as a person? Like, does it align with your future? Like, what you're wanting for yourself? Or are you just, like, so used to someone else making your decisions? Are you just conditioned to let this person, like, control you all the time? Like, you really have to think for yourself. Like, are you just scared, traumatized? Like, why? You really have to acknowledge some of these things so that you can eventually overcome them. In the Bible, it says that our feelings deceive us. And that is so true, because how many times have we acted out of like our emotions of how we were feeling in that moment and then ended up regretting what we did later? Like, I'm guilty. I'm so guilty of this, and it's just not a healthy way to live. Don't let your feelings deceive you into thinking life is too hard or too scary or that you're all alone, because you know what? You're not alone. There is a creator. There is an ultimate source of energy. Like, I don't even know, but it was like, it's always been here, and it's God. And the girls like, get it. I'm gonna say this right now, like, I don't know too much about the Bible. I don't know, like, everything. I honestly haven't even read through the whole thing yet, but what I do know, I'll be more than happy to share. I love learning as well, so if any of you babes ever want to share like a verse with me, or you think of a verse that just aligns perfectly with like what I'm saying, like, feel free to comment, share it, like, DM me and share it with me. I love communicating with you guys. But yeah, some book recommendations are the Bible, of course, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So I recommend you actually buy the book. It comes with like a code to take an exam so that you can test your emotional intelligence, your actual EQ, and it'll like tell you what you scored. And then after you read the book, give it a few months, a few weeks, you go back and you take the same test and you see how much you improved. Because I know they have the audio on YouTube as well. That's how I listen to it. But I think it would just be so much better if you guys just took the test, were able to take the test. Also, The Subtle Art of Not Giving It. It's a really good book as well. Sometimes in life, you kind of just have to take a second to realize or reflect, especially in very like intense situations. Oftentimes, you kind of just have to breathe, like stop yourself and just take a deep breath. It's going to help you collect yourself, really think about what you're going to say before you say it. It kind of just helps you really gain control of yourself. And that's so important. Do you realize, like, when you're reflecting, like, do you recognize that you're highly irritable? Do you have anger issues? Do you have lots of mood variations? Are you super negative, like very volatile and like sensitive, like to like easily triggered? Are you hungry? Are you cranky? I know for sure, like when it comes to the babies, like, oh my goodness, if they're hungry, like they get so cranky, they cry. You know, we're not that different. Just because we're older, we are not that different. Make sure you're fueling your body. Food is energy. I know sometimes you guys are like, oh, but I'm not hungry. Like, it's not, you don't always have to eat because you're hungry, but because it's what your body needs. For example, like, don't get me wrong, I love hot Cheetos, but maybe let's not have that for breakfast. Maybe let's lay off the Rebels and the coffee before breakfast, because I also know that that stuff can really stress your stomach if you eat it on an empty stomach, and it leads to like bloating, and it's just not cute. Instead, for breakfast, make sure you're eating a high protein meal. I know eggs are a great source of protein. If your blood sugar is known to fluctuate, try it for like a week. A high protein breakfast. See how you feel. Because you know what? Your body and your mind work hand in hand. If you're not taking care of your body, how do you think your mind is going to feel? I mean, I know this is kind of like common sense, but like, I think sometimes we just need that reminder. Also, how is your sleep? I know that if I sleep for like 2 hours only, like for a night, because it's happened before, in the morning, I will be such a negative Nelly. And it's not fun being around a negative Nelly, okay? Like, you really have to work on sleeping at the same time, waking up at the same time, so that your cycle can regulate. Also, like in life, you don't want to keep suffering. So if you have a lot of excess negative emotions and it's just so overwhelming and it's very like affecting your life, it's just, you really have to learn how to channel those. You really have to be careful of your surroundings. Like, cut the sad music, cut the scary shows, cut the dramatic shows, cut it all. Like, no. Self-development, keep it positive, keep it pretty, take care of yourself, do everything you can, channel that energy elsewhere. Hit the gym, read a book, journal, freaking draw, paint. Really take care of yourself. Don't just think that drugs and drinking are going to help you. Like, a lot of the times people don't know how to get a sense of self-control, so they turn to these quote unquote shortcuts, which is like drugs, alcohol, witchcraft, things like that. You can't shortcut life. Like, you just can't. The only way you can really change your life is if you focus and you actively do things that are going to lead you to that better life. Because I'm not gonna say I'm here for like venting and stuff, because like in the Bible, in Proverbs, it does say like you should not vent, and it's for a good reason, you know. Maybe you could go to a therapist, but really just have faith and try to keep it with you and God. For example, like if you're having problems with your man, with your sister, with your mom, rather than going and telling your friends, I suggest you kind of just journal. Because if you think about it, like say something really bad happens and you tell your friends, and your friends are like on your side, and then they're like, oh yeah, like they're gonna be like supportive of you, like most friends, you know. When you share your problems, that person's perspective on the other person is going to change. And even if you and the person you had conflict with end up getting along again, forgiving each other, that's still not gonna sit well with your whoever you told. Does that make sense? I'm sure you can think of a few instances. For example, my girlies who tell their best friends every time they fight with their man, and then the best friend is like against the man, you know, and she's like, oh my god, just break up with him. Like girlie, she's not gonna get it because it's not her relationship. Okay, like you really kind of just have to be considerate of those things. That's kind of like why I'm not here for venting. Also, imagine you made a mistake, and then rather than them communicate it to you, they went ahead and told a bunch of other people, and they kind of just expected you to know you did wrong. Like most people, like if you go and talk to them, you tell them like, hey, you really hurt my feelings, they will be super understanding. But then if you go kind of like bad mouthing them to other people, and then they're not even aware they made a mistake, like it's kind of hard. So that's kind of why I'm not here for venting. I'm here for communicating. If you have a problem with somebody, please go ahead and communicate that way. Just don't go like venting to other people, like, you know, channel that energy elsewhere. If you really need like love and affection, hang out with a friend, like have fun. But yeah, also if you're stressing, you're producing a lot of stress hormones, and that makes you old. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm 50, I want to look like I'm 10. Oh my gosh, me and Alyssa were talking about the fennel peel and how it literally like takes off so much from your face, like wrinkles. Like, let's get real deep into it. Okay, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and manage your emotions. It's really just self-control over your emotions and how you're feeling and what you're thinking. You really have to be self-aware, like socially aware. Most millionaires don't have the highest IQ, but they have the highest EQ. Some food for thought. Also, people with a high emotional intelligence are more compassionate, kind, understanding. They know how to keep the peace. And honestly, it's so amazing because it really reflects their inner self. Like they really are in control. Like their life just kind of reflects everything. Their peace, it's not because they're lucky, it's because they're conscious and self-aware. I do that face a lot, huh? Your emotional intelligence, it just reflects onto your children. So if you're a parent and you have anger issues, your chances of having an angry child are more likely compared to a parent that doesn't. They learn from us and they will regulate into what they have been taught. A stressed mother is more likely to have a stressed daughter. Their actions will reflect their mindset. People project what's a reflection of them in their life, so it's never really personal towards you. Like, who would you rather be around? Somebody who's emotionally intelligent and knows how to handle their emotions, or somebody who's kind of just unhinged, volatile? Like, no. The answer's obvious, you know? And also, it can be really hard if somebody knows how to push the right buttons and trigger you. You know, if somebody can get you mad, they might be able to control you. But you have to keep in mind, you need to do what's best in that situation. You know, something that helps me is I think about, okay, if it was me, what would I want the other person to do? Because, you know, it's not about treating people how they treat you, but treat others how you want to be treated. Something to really help us keep from getting angry is to remember that, this is another quote, anger is a punishment we give ourselves. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's really just super important we have compassion, not just for ourselves but for other people as well, because you know, everybody's going through something. Growing up, everybody's gone through their own thing, like everybody has their story, and this is everybody's first time being alive. Nobody really knows how to do this thing, and like that even goes for our parents as well. Like, you know, growing up, I always thought like, oh my gosh, they know everything, and then eventually I realized like, hey, they're just like me. They don't know what they're doing, but they're like getting the hang of it the longer they're here, and we're not going to be here forever. So, you know, just be kind. You never really know what somebody else is going through. But yeah, everybody's trying their best to live this life. Be compassionate, understanding, because even if you know how to handle a certain situation, maybe someone else doesn't. What might be common sense for you might not be for someone else. Sometimes you might come into situations where you need to be emotionally intelligent enough to handle someone else's emotions as well. So it's important you ask them, like, also like get them to breathe as well, because this helps so much. Like, you really gather yourself when you breathe and just take time to calm down. But yeah, it's important you ask them how you can help them, what they need, and what they can do to help themselves. Like, what is it that you really want, you know? Mistakes are always going to be made, you know? Don't hold grudges. It's not cute. And, you know, this also goes towards myself, because I used to be very forgiving. Like, obviously, like, I'm not gonna hold a grudge and just like make a hate account for somebody, but I'm saying like, hey, if somebody did you wrong, just let it go. You know what they did, you learn from it, you know where that person belongs in your life now. Let it go and just move on. Everybody makes mistakes, but that's how we learn and how we grow. Making a mistake doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's a learning opportunity. Like, I know as a child I made a lot of mistakes. Even now I still make a ton of mistakes, but that's honestly how you move forward in life. The more mistakes you made, the more opportunity you have to grow and learn. Process your emotions onto paper. It's a perfect way to clear them from your mind, because yes, you can talk to your friends, but you need to remember, if you're talking poorly about someone, they're gonna see that person poorly. You'll get over it, they will not. Also, if you're able to self-reflect, you will learn so much more than compared to if you were to tell somebody what's going on and then they give their opinion on what you should do. Because remember, like, this is your life. You know yourself best. You know what you want for yourself, and you know what you need. Unless you truly value the other person's opinion and you're actually going to go with whatever they tell you to do, maybe just don't ask. Yeah. But yeah, they should really teach us about emotional intelligence in school. I feel like the world would be so much better, and people would kind of just know how to handle each other better. Definitely recommend the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0. You can listen to it on YouTube, and honestly, it's a really good for making you self-reflect. I remember the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh my goodness, I really need to work on myself. You really have to learn how to be self-aware. You have to know what your intention is. What are your morals? Like, what are your values? What is important to you? Okay, how are you keeping your peace? How are you keeping peace in your life? So maybe not just toward like for you, but how are you keeping the peace like with your family? What are your coping strategies? For the most part, we really just have to learn how to manage yourselves, really get to know yourself. And yeah, I feel like I've been talking for so long. Hope somebody somewhere out there found some value from what I was talking about. If you did, and if you took notes, send me a picture, tag me on Instagram. Also, I just created a newsletter. Anything that just really stood out to me that week and that I want to share with you babes. So you can find the newsletter on my Instagram page. It's going to be right there in my bio. I really appreciate your support. It means so much. And I hope you guys can take some of the things I say and, you know, find value from it. I love you, evolving babes. And I hope you have a great rest of your